If you look for the sandals this morning for the children's sermon, we did not have a children's sermon, but maybe you look for the sandals anyway. Have you found them? They're behind me, pointed toward the cross. Reminder that our journey over the season of Lent has taken us to the cross, and now to the empty tomb. I often wonder what it was like that first Easter morning. The Gospels record the stories in different ways. Every time I read it, I hear something that perhaps I did not hear before. But I wonder what it was like that Easter morning. The Gospels tell us the women made their way to the tomb. And each one captures it a bit differently. John has Mary going, and she is obviously in despair, weeping over the death of the Lord. Saturday has been a long, difficult day of unknowing. She walks to the tomb in despair. Luke and Mark capture a different scene. They have that despair as well. And it's almost as if they have their heads down, but in Luke and Mark's Gospel, they're carrying spices to anoint the body. And you come to the Gospel of Matthew, and you have a similar story. And it's easy to let all of those stories meld together, and we hear the same thing. But if we're careful this morning, we take our time, there may be something in the story that we've not heard before. Or we've heard it, we just didn't hear it the way that we should. Because Matthew tells us that the two Marys made their way to the tomb. But listen is how he tells the story. Matthew chapter 28, verse 1 has these words. After the Sabbath on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake. An angel of the Lord came down from heaven, and going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning. His clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him, they shook and became like dead men. The angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here, he has risen, just as he said. So come and see the place where he lay. And then go quickly and tell his disciples he is risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you." So the women hurried from the tomb, afraid, and yet filled with joy. They ran to tell his disciples, and suddenly Jesus met them. "Greetings," he said. They came to him, clasped his feet, and worshipped him. And then Jesus said to them, "Don't be afraid. Go and tell my disciples to go to Galilee, and there they will see me." When we think about the Easter message, we often tend to think about the message of life after death and the hope that is ours through Christ. And we sang it this morning. We've said it in our prayers. We've read it in our scriptures. Where is thy sting, O death? Where is thy victory, O grave? And certainly we need to proclaim that hope. It is ours, God's promise to us. In the Gospel of John, Jesus said, "I've come to prepare you a place." Or, "I've gone to prepare a place. When I come again, I'll take you to be with me." And so when we think about Easter and the message of Easter, we think about life after death. But I think we need the Easter message right now. Because as many of you know, death can come long before the end of life. How many people do you know who are walking through this earth physically alive, but dead of spirit? You may be one of those. How easily life beats us down a little bit at a time, sometimes in such a way we don't even recognize it. But we become worn down by the days. It's like the little boy who put his head in his hands, stared at his math book and said, "I wish math was done and I was married and dead." he got it a little bit wrong, but maybe partly right.